So we're going to start off with Steve Walters, and good morning to you, Steve.
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve, and we're going to play with our levels just a bit until we hear you say that good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
Ooh, we got a good voice for the radio. You probably ought to be on more often.
Really?
And well, Steve is. I see Steve walking through the neighborhood with his wife Andrea and his two kids, Ford and Grace. And
Yes.
they're always on the way to the Waldorf school, and I guess you go off to work because your wife teaches over there at the Waldorf school.
That's right.
And that's probably 20 times, 30 times a year, 40 times a year, we say hello to each other on the street, and it turns out that you're one hell of a graphic artist. And you have an outfit called Screwball Press, and you've been around for just about 20 years. I'd like to know how you got into doing art, because, I was around in Berkeley and San Francisco back in Fillmore days, and there was a lot of beautiful poster art, and your graphics are the closest thing I've seen in modern times to that. So how did you get into this game?
How did I get into it? Well, when I was in college, I studied sociology, but my main interest has always been music, and I've tried to be in bands, but I don't have much talent in the music department. So
You played bass?
yeah, I tried. Then we moved to Chicago, and I started doing flyers and stuff for friends in bands.
Where did you move to Chicago from?
Iowa City, when I was going to school
Iowa
in
City.
Iowa.
Did you grow up in Iowa?
No, I grew up in the suburbs here.
Uh-huh. Well, Iowa's a great place to go for a while.
It is. I loved it. Yeah.
Especially Iowa City. It's good. And it was because there was, I think, kind of a pretty strong alternative culture in Iowa City. Was that did that feed your desire to make art?
Oh, a lot. Yeah, very much. Is a very strong do-it-yourself kind of scene, which was important. I mean, I'm sorry.
I read somewhere that you live near an art store and used to go get pastels and crayons and do various pieces of art.
Yep. Yeah. That was when I had gotten a job when I moved here as a grocery store manager, and I got laid off from that. And I lived too close to the art store.
You were in the grocery business.
I was, briefly, yeah.
Well, another thing that you do that we did have your wife on talking about was when we did our farm report, our local farm report, you have chickens in your backyard.
That's right.
And how are they doing? How are those chickens doing?
They're doing great. As long as the hawks don't get them, they're...
Have you seen hawks looping around trying?
Yeah, they sit on the wire above the chicken coop.
Cooper's hawks probably are what the
I think
local
so,
ones are.
yeah.
Well, we've always had hawks in Rogers Park, actually, for a long time. But now that we have a lot of chickens in Rogers Park, I think we might be attracting them.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
So how many eggs a day are you getting out of those chickens?
Lately it's just been one a day, but at the beginning of the spring we were getting like 6 or 7 a day.
To what do
four
we-
chickens.
To what do we account for this drop-off in production?
I don't know.
Come on, man. What was that?
ComEd
Oh
workers,
yeah, they have been
stress.
stressed out because Branch took out our electricity.
Okay, there you go.
That might be it.
Well, tell us a little bit about Screwball Press. I mean, you started doing some posters for your friends and bands, and then you got yourself. I heard that you had an old Macintosh Power Mac, and that's where you did your typesetting. Then you bought yourself a silkscreen kit. And how did this evolve? Just to pretend I'm from Mars.
I didn't have a computer until maybe 10 years ago. I started out doing posters. I was doing linoleum cut posters, and I was getting way too many gouges in my hands, and it was too labor intensive. So I bought a kit at the art store, and I would just set the type by cutting out ruby lith, which is, I don't know if anyone knows what that
I
is.
remember all that
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
Laying out papers.
But yeah, it was pretty freehand.
And did you have any particular artists or poster artists from the old days or currently that influence you that you like?
Oh yeah, all the old '60s posters. I mean, I had a few of them that I had collected from record stores and stuff. Wes Wilson and Stanley Mouse were very influential. But the art kind of went away for a while. And there's this guy down in Austin, Texas, named Frank Kozik that kind of brought the thing back in
Yeah.
the '80s.
Is there a network of you guys doing
Talking to each other?
Yeah, talking to each other,
Yeah,
doing
very good one. Yeah,
silkscreen
there's a
posters?
website called gigposters.com.
Gig Posters?
Yeah, and
Spell that.
GIGPOSTERS.
Gig. I
Are
thought
you,
you were-
are you familiar with the Hatch shop in Nashville?
I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. They did a lot of the Johnny Cash, a lot of early country western
Yeah,
stuff.
they've been around for 130 years. Yeah.
Big block letters.
Yep. Yeah.
They're
I toured
great.
the shop once.
Oh, you
It
did?
was like the first time I went down to Austin to sell posters, and I was on my way back, and I stopped in there, and that was the first time anyone outside of Chicago that I knew that anyone outside of Chicago had heard of me. So
Oh, they knew you?
I don't. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, Screwball Press, come on back, come on." And they
That's
gave me the
great.
whole
How
tour.
cool.
Because they have a big museum down there. I mean, I've seen
Backwards.
these pictures of all their posters hanging up.
Yeah.
So when you started Screwball Press, I understand this is your anniversary year.
Yep.
20 years?
20 years ago. Yeah.
So is it just you, or did you have some compadres to kick it off with?
For the anniversary, or,
No,
or
no, I
when,
mean,
when I
when-
started? No,
yeah,
it
when
was
you-
just me in my living room. Yeah.
Me in my living room. Me and LR doing our thing. And your family came along after that, obviously.
Yep.
They're
Yep. I mean, I
younger.
was married at the time, but
So you did have a compadre.
yeah, I have. Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly,
Yes.
clearly someone had to leave the living room, right?
Yeah. That was, yeah.
And where do you get your ideas from? I mean, you have a whole series of Bush posters that we used to. We had them in the Heartland at one time. We had them for sale in the store.
You're not speaking of shrubs, Michael?
Well, maybe they were called shrubs.
Oh, really?
Shrubs.
You are talking about greenery, not the political.
No, I'm talking about his George Bush series of posters. with
Okay,
the,
thanks.
the flip top head.
Right.
What possessed you to do a series on our
I was
previous president?
just sick of the guy.
That's good.
I was
Just sick of the
appalled
guy.
that. Yeah.
Are you going to do
He was
any on
even
any
there.
other presidents? Or we're not sick
No
of
one's
them
made me
yet?
that angry yet.
We're hoping for more. Well, let's. What do you got planned for your 40th or 20th anniversary party?
Well, we got a party at my friend's post-production company did the Daily Planet down at 720 North Franklin next Friday night.
Oh, wow.
The date would be.
The 24th, June 24th. It's
And that's,
7 p.m. to 11.
Open to people?
It's open to anyone. Yeah.
And
There'll
so
be
tell
free
us
beer.
give us the address and then
720 North Franklin, and the 5th floor.
It's Franklin and Institute Place. I know it well,
Yeah.
the area. Right off the Chicago stop at the Brown Line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're listening to Live from the Heartland on WLUW 88.7. I'm Michael James. I'm here with my co-host Katie Hogan, and we're talking to our neighborhood friend Steve Walters, who's done some beautiful posters.
Can I, you had said that you were, let's see, inspired by anger in terms of the Bush series. Speak more about inspiration and the incredibly important moment between thinking about something, being moved by something, and then putting it onto paper.
I mean, most of what I do is rock posters, so I mean, it's the music that inspires me.
What were you listening
I
to when you thought of the Bush posters?
I don't remember. I was just watching too much TV.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't like to walk around with all that anger inside of me, so it's a way of getting rid of it, putting it out there. I mean, yeah.
That sounds perfect. Yes, to have that outlet. Some of
Right.
us don't have that outlet.
Exactly,
So we,
yeah.
get into fights with our wives and husbands.
Yep.
or rail at the mailman or some other ridiculous, innocent
yell at
person.
the bus driver, yeah.
There you
right,
go.
Yeah.
Well, people who follow music in Chicago have seen your posters for a lot of venues, for a lot of bands. You also did a really nice poster for WLUW, this particular station that we're talking on now.
That was a few years ago.
You did it was a sort of a poster, but it was only in print of the heart of Rogers Park with the Heartland Cafe, the No Exit, the Studio Theater, and the Red Line Tap, which was on the back of probably the last issue of the Heartland, or maybe the we put out. We
Second
still
to
hope to
last.
put out more. And what are you working on now? What bands are you talking to? What's coming your way? What's inspiring you? You got chickens in your backyard. You got kids growing up.
Are you going to do a chicken poster? That's what I want to know.
I've done a few with chickens on them. My friend Lawrence Peters puts together this Day in the Country thing at the Hideout every year. It's a bunch of country bands that play on the back of a truck.
Oh, way cool. When is that at the Hideout? What a good idea, Day in the
It's
Country.
either coming up or just happened. I'm not sure. Somebody else did the
We're
poster
right on
this
top
year.
of it, aren't we?
Yeah. I'm almost 50. I'm kind of out of touch with,
Oh,
with
please.
bands.
Please,
No,
youngster.
Well, how do you see it growing, or how do you see it going? You just do you have other people working with you now?
Well, I kind of run my shop as a co-op. So I teach them how to print, and then they can come back and use the facilities. And so,
Who are you teaching how to print?
A lot of times it's people in bands that need to make posters for their own bands or something like that, or just aspiring artists that are insane enough to want to make rock posters.
How do you get into this art program at your place?
It's not much of a program. It's just a one-day thing, and you can just email me at steve@screwballpress, and we can set up a day. It's pretty laid back. I don't like to have a lot of rules.
As you can tell from just listening to Steve. Laid back, not a lot of rules. Barely actually here.
Float
but,
around the mic.
Yeah.
What are your favorite bands these days? And who are you? What posters are you working on?
I haven't been designing much lately. My favorite bands these days. I still listen to my old punk rock stuff a lot.
And which punk rock bands do you like?
Like Minutemen, Meat Puppets, the old SST stuff, Mission of Burma, Gang of Four, The Clash. I still like.
I love those titles. It's post my memory bank, but and someday soon you might have that problem too.
Yeah, no, I already
actually
do.
you already
I already
said.
do, yeah.
I just like those old punk bands,
Yep.
And you said
Kids
old,
these
which is
days.
funny.
They're funny band names.
Yeah. Well, you have a family to raise, so that's going to keep you occupied. That may
Yep.
actually inspire some of your future art.
I'm interested in making more kind of fine art these days than band-oriented
Sweet.
stuff. I'm trying, it's
What
part of the
would that
reason I
be
do
like?
the co-op and let other people work. I mean, that's for...
Along those lines, how do you find yourself looking for input to enrich your own practice and your techniques? How do you freshen up your own
Just
skills?
having other people around and are new to it really gets my juices flowing. I mean,
Very good.
It's great to see somebody getting excited about the little things in the beginning of the process that I've forgotten 100 times. And that
way
helps me a
cool.
lot. Yeah.
Way cool.
Are you going to get more chickens?
No, 4 is enough.
4 is enough. Is there a limit on how many chickens you can have?
There probably is per square foot, but I don't know about that. Do you have a rooster?
No, that's illegal because they.
See,
crow.
I was in
Yeah.
a yard on the south side. Sorry to digress. A couple of weeks ago, my niece's boyfriend, he's got 4 roosters and a couple chickens.
He's probably doing cockfights.
No, he's not. He got them from I forget some. Anyway, I was surprised.
Well, Steve, you're featured in a book. Can you tell us about that book, Art of Modern
Art
Rock?
of Modern Rock. Yeah, I mean, there's the same authors that made the book called The Art of Rock, which was all the old 60s posters, some old 50s stuff, sorry. And, they just decided to update the thing because there was so much new stuff coming out.
And are you in any other books? Are you in any films?
Gigposters.com put a book out, or they've got a series of books. That was in the first one of those. And There's 2 documentaries out right now that I think there's shots of me in, but
That's cool.
I'm such a lovely interview that they cut out all my talking.
Well, when you say you want to do more fine art, I mean, another artist that's really been close to the Heartland is Lester Doré. He did the old Rising Up Angry Seed, a lot of graphics, and he used to do a lot of stuff for us, but he just doesn't want to do kind of advertising art, posters, flyers,
He's political.
layout. He does a lot of political stuff, but he kind of wants to do more
Fine art.
fine art graphics.
Sure.
In your own life, what's that transition? I mean, I know you talked about you didn't consider yourself an artist early on. You started messing around and doing it, and then you certainly have blossomed into one hell of a graphic artist. Have you honed your skills? Have you, over the years, learned a lot more about art? What makes you want to do the fine art?
I've learned a lot more about screen printing and what I do. I'm not a Renaissance man by any means.
What will be the medium when you do fine art?
It'd still be screen printing.
Screen printing still.
That's all I know. And
Tell
I still
people-
love doing it after 20 years.
Tell people briefly how screen printing is done. What's just the process? Because
It's pretty primitive, yeah. The way I do it is I make my color separations, and from those you burn a stencil onto a piece of mesh stretched on a frame, and then you just kind of smash it through the mesh with a squeegee onto the paper, one color at a time.
So that sounds to me like silkscreen.
Yes.
It's what it
So-
is.
Yeah, same thing.
So are you doing linoleum and silks?
No,
Is
I
it a
started out doing linoleum, and then I
All silk
switched
screen.
over. Yeah.
Such a fine art, really, in itself.
Well, Steve Walters, we want to really thank you for coming on Live from the Heartland. Tell us one more time how people can contact you, learn about Screwball Press, and your upcoming 20th anniversary.
www.screwballpress.com, and there's a Screwball Press page on Facebook.
Well, let's have a round of applause for our friend Steve Walters. Here we are. We want to thank you for coming on. We're going to